Hello everybody out there watching on YouTube, and welcome to race number 7 of Season 5 of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series. I'm Levi McIntyre, the voice of the NNSCRA Marvel Studios Cup Series, here to welcome you to the Golden Corral 500 here at Atlanta Motor Speedway as we're getting set for 40 laps of racing here at this fast mile-and-a-half racetrack. But before we look at the starting lineup, as per, we got to take a look at the point standings coming into this race. So after last week at Michigan, Matt McIntyre extends his points lead to 17 points over Benjamin Miles. Third is James McLeod, fourth Seth Cole, fifth is Patrick Smith. Sixth Carson Gums, seventh Paul Minnick, eighth Joshua Collard, ninth Rafael LeDuc, and then 10th is DJ Curtis. So that would be the current chase field if the chase were to begin now. But without further ado, let's take a look at the starting lineup. Starting in the last row, we have Dylan Poteet and defending champion Joshua Sekuli. Top 10, Jessica Shelton is on the pole for today. Starting next to her is Sean Galligan. Row 2 is comprised of Rafael LeDuc and Colin Phillips. Row 3, Ryan Butcher, Joshua Collard. Row 4, Dylan Thoreau, Matt McIntyre. And then row 5, Carson Gum and Paul Minnick. With that said, let's get the command to fire engines for the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta.
Drivers, start your engines!
All 40 drivers on the racetrack for their one pace lap around here. Now this race is going to be interesting considering we're running this race at an earlier time track-wise than usual. We're running it during, looks like, early morning time at this racetrack. So this is going to really make for an interesting race considering when you have the sun beating down on the racetrack will have a little less grip than it would be if it was at night. But of course, another big factor with this race is going to be trying to get to the bottom as quick as possible to get that run on your opponents in order to gain track position. But also we could see fuel mileage be a factor in this race depending on what the pit window is going to be for today. But the pace car pulls into pit road, so you know what time it is, people. Oh yes, it's time to boogity 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 go racing. So Jessica Shelton led the first lap of the day, but she's got Rafael LeDuc right behind her for that for the lead. And then already moving up quite a few spots, Carson Gum in the 19, as he's definitely looking for redemption. Considering last week at Michigan, he was the only car wrecked out of the race, and as a result, he ended up getting no points last week when he came in. The Michigan second in points, and now he's 6th in points. Right now, he's looking to be on the right track to trying to gain more momentum in the point standings, and he's about to try and take second away from Rafael LeDuc. Coming into the picture, you got rookie Colin Francis in the 41 up here into the fray, and then Dylan Jacobs, who I think when I saw the lineup, started around 13th and is already up here to 5th. Then Dougie Shears has found his way up here into the top 10. So too is Colin Phillips, Kyle Matthews, among others. As Rafael LeDuc has now fallen back to 4th, and he's got his teammate Dylan Jacobs right behind him. And keep this in mind, currently as of this recording, Raphael Leduc will no longer be a part of Furniture Row Racing. He instead is going to be joining Retro Racing Enterprises in the number 09 car. So this is Leduc's farewell season for Furniture Row Racing. Meanwhile, back up here at the front, Jessica Shelton still leading the way, and Carson Gum still in second, but now Cullen Francis feels it's go time to try and take second away. As it's mostly single file with a couple of double wide racing going on up here at the front, and now Cullen Francis takes second away from the 19 of Gum. Now, does Cullen Francis have anything for the 02 of Jessica Shelton? I don't know, but Carson Gum, he's going to try and take second back. And I thought he was going to be able to make that move, but guess didn't have enough speed to go on by the 41, and the 41 still maintains second for the time being. Kyle Matthews up here into the 5th position, as I saw Dylan Jacobs was 5th, and now he's fallen back to the 8th spot. Meanwhile, it's a 3-car freight train almost up here at the front with the 02, the 41, and the 19. And I see a battle raging on for the 8th position. Dylan Jacobs up high, Dougie Shears down low. And Shears is going to get that advantage of running the bottom groove and is now going to take the 8th spot away from the 78. Now the 78's under some big troubles. Here comes Alex Drayton in the 14. That's for 9th. And then you got Diego Yepes in the 10 and Charles Sanford in the 03 who are going to have runs on the bottom for themselves. I see back there the points leader, Matt McIntyre, running in the back. Meanwhile, back up here at the front of the field, however, battle on for second as Carson Gum has a run underneath the 41 of Cullen Francis. But Jessica Shelton, from the moment the green flag dropped, she has led every single lap so far. But that, well, I thought Carson was going to get that run on the bottom going into 3, but wasn't quite there just yet. But now Carson's leaving room for Shelton's teammate Kyle Matthews to make a run for second to make it a 1-2 right now for Retro Racing Enterprises. Couple of Furniture Row cars fighting for the 5th position. Jay Jefferson went by Raphael Leduc. Zachary Fitzwater with that run to the bottom underneath Carson Gum, and Jay Jefferson's going to follow suit. So some shuffling going on up here in the top 5. The only thing that hasn't shuffled all race long has been the race lead. Jessica Shelton still holding on to a strong lead. Kyle Matthews thought about making the move, and Fitzwater tried to make a move, but just wasn't there quick enough. So meanwhile, with Jessica Shelton leading every lap so far, already gets 3 bonus points, 2 for getting the pole and 1 for leading a lap. If she were to lead all the way through lap 21, she would be guaranteed an extra bonus point. But now we may have a challenge for the lead as here comes teammate Kyle Matthews. This could be the first big lead change of the race, and Matthews now has the spot. Kyle Matthews now to the point, and here comes Jay Jefferson, who's going to have a run for second. Jay Jefferson, he comes into this race 29th in points. He is yet to score a top 10 this season. Right now he's up here in the top 5 and is looking to maybe try and make a move for the race lead. But right now Kyle Matthews has that spot as Jessica Shelton continues to lose positions as she falls back to the 6th position. But But needless to say, you could say that Retro Racing Enterprises has still led every single lap today. It's just been with two different drivers. Meanwhile, battle on for third. Zachary Fitzwater is going to take it away from Carson Gum, and that opens up an opportunity for rookie Colin Francis. Oh, I thought he was going to be able to make a run for the fourth position, but didn't quite get there in time. See what other battles we've got going on track. Here's a potential battle brewing. This would be for the 14th position, and right now it's held by Preston Plord. Under attack from Joshua Collard, as meanwhile Dylan Jacobs had just gone by Benjamin Miles. And now we got a big fight going on up here. Something happened with Jay Jefferson. He got forced up high, and now he's going to fall back to the 6th position for the time being. As Fitzwater moves to second, but now here comes the 19 of Carson Gum to try and take back second. But when we get to the halfway point, we'll do a full field rundown to see where everyone is currently running. But you gotta wonder, of course, when will these drivers have to come to pit road if we stay green the rest of the way? As right now, Kyle Matthews hangs on to the lead and has a bit of a gap between himself and Carson Gum. And then you got Colin Francis, right now the highest running rookie, in the 3rd spot. As I'm looking around the back to see how things are playing out, and it seems like everything's cool, calm, and collected. Meanwhile, battle on for the 2nd position. Colin Francis with a run underneath of Carson Gum, and is going to easily clear the 19. And now Jessica Sheldon, right there to the quarter panel, is going to try and go by for 3rd. But when we cross the line here, it's time for the full field rundown presented by Marvel Studios. So currently, 20 laps to go. Kyle Matthews is your race leader. 2nd is Colin Francis. 3rd is Jessica Sheldon. 4th, Carson Gum. 5th, Alex Drayton. 6th is Diego Yepez. 7th is Zachary Fitzwater. 8th, Jay Jefferson. 9th, Rafael LeDuc. 10th, Sean Galligan. 11th is Tim Fiegel. 12th is Dougie Shears. 13th, Joshua Collard. 14th, Charles Sanford. 15th, Preston Plord. 16th, Benjamin Miles. 17th, Dylan Young. 18th, Dylan Jacobs. 19th, James Shelley. 20th, Seth Cole. 21st is Paul Minnick. 22nd, Ethan Hoffman. 23rd, Trent Dunham. 24th is James McLeod. 25th, James Qualls. 26th, Jake Bastinger. Now to 27th is Matt McIntyre, who currently just went by. 28th, Patrick Smith. 29th, Joshua Sekuli. 30th is Anthony McCurry. 31st, Colin Phillips. 32nd, Ryan Butcher. 33rd is now Jonathan Zorling. 34th, Dylan Thoreau. 35th, and the last driver to get points, Emmanuel Hartnett. As I just screwed up the ticker there. And then right now, the bottom 5 currently are Chris Dollerton, Cody Lamas, Jake Rogers, Dylan Poteet, and DJ Curtis. Back up here at the front is a 1-2 for Retro Racing Enterprises right now. Matthews still leading. Sheldon, who led early on, in 2nd, but Carson Gum trying to break that party up. And then you got the highest running Ford right now in Alex Drayton, and then Dodge right behind him with Diego Yepez, and then Jay Jefferson trying to figure out a plan to get into the top 5. But we're coming on 15 laps to go, and I'm still wondering when will drivers have to come to pit road. As I'm looking around to see if anybody's pulling in now or not. And now they're all going to keep racing on the racetrack. DJ Curtis, for some reason, he is way in the back and is nowhere near anyone. Just been a bad day for that 4 team, and they came in 10th in points, and it's not looking good for him to get any points going into the next race, which I forget where we're heading to next week. Battle going on for the 5th position as here comes Jay Jefferson with a run to the inside of Diego Yepez, and then Yepez's teammate Zachary Fitzwater goes by. That would have been for the 6th position. And look at Tim Fiegel. We haven't talked about Tim Fiegel very much all day long. Fell 5 more spots in points after last week at Michigan. Fell to 17th. Right now he's having a very good top 10 day here. Hopefully it's going to be able to give him momentum going into the next race. And nearly some contact between Fitzwater and Jefferson as they were battling for a spot in the top 5. And now Fitzwater going to go way to the bottom. Can he keep that momentum up? And it looks like he's going to. And meanwhile, we got a fight for the lead. Jessica Shelton, who led the first 12 laps, she's now going to take the lead back. Oh, but she's going way to the bottom, and that is a sign. Yep, she's going to come into pit road. The first of many to come into pit road to follow suit right behind her. Fitzwater, Yepez, excuse me, that was a good one. Francis and Miles and Young and a bunch of others come into pit road. But not too many came into pit road. Only about, for a best estimation, about 15 cars. And now here comes Carson Gum as Alex Drayton's going to stay out an extra lap. So now Alex Drayton has the lead with 10 laps to go. And I think, oh no, there's a couple others that stayed out. I see Patrick Smith and Joshua Sekuli, so it's only those 3 left to come to pit road, the 14, the 55, and the 11. But Drayton, I hear his engine slowing down, and it's obvious he's getting ready to enter pit road. So too will the 55 and the 11. So now the final 3 here, they're now pulling into pit road. As I'm also looking around to see if there's been any contact among drivers getting on and off pit road, and I'm not seeing any. Although I do see it looks like Fitzwater was able to get out of the pits first of that first group of cars. And then you got Carson Gum, who led the second group, and it looks like, I don't know, it's going to be close, but I think Fitzwater, unless he were to get stuck behind the 19, I think the 19 will cycle around ahead of the 91. But then you got Alex Drayton, but I think they're going to, these 2 up here are going to easily go on by the 14. Meanwhile, side by side, but Fitzwater is going to maintain position for now. But Drayton thought about pulling up in front of the 91, but that could have been bad. But Drayton's strategy does pan out for him as he's now up here fighting for potentially the win now. So now we're going to do another full field rundown to see how the field just cycled around after those pit stops. So Zachary Fitzwater is now your race leader. 2nd, Alex Drayton. 3rd is Carson Gum. 4th, Diego Yepez. 5th is Jessica Shelton. 6th is Tim Fiegel. 7th, Kyle Matthews. 8th, Colin Francis. 9th, Dylan Young. 10th, Joshua Collard. 11th is Dougie Shears. 12th, Jay Jefferson. 13th is Sean Galligan. 14th, Dylan Jacobs. 15th, Preston Plord. 16th, Benjamin Miles. 17th, James Shelley. 18th is Charles Sanford. 19th, Colin Phillips. 20th, James Qualls. 21st, Joshua Sekuli. 22nd, James McLeod. 23rd, Patrick Smith. 24th, Rafael Leduc. 25th, Jake Baskinger. 26th is Paul Minnick. 27th, Emmanuel Hartnett. 28th, Ryan Butcher. 29th, Trent Dunham. 30th, Anthony McCurry. And then the final 5 for points is Jake Rogers, Matt McIntyre, Jonathan Zorline, Dylan Thoreau, and Dylan Poteet. And the current bottom 5 are Cody Lamas, DJ Curtis, Ethan Hoffman, Seth Cole, Chris Dollarton. Back up at the front as we're getting ready to come to 5 laps to go. Fitzwater now still hanging on to the lead, but Alex Drayton is right there behind him in second. Could he make some magic work since he's got 2 laps fresher tires than the 91? Gotta wonder if those tires are going to come into play for some of these drivers that pitted a little bit after certain others. Meanwhile, Diego Yepes is glued to the back bumper of the 19 of Carson Gum. This would be for the 3rd spot. But meanwhile, the top 4 are a little over a second ahead of 5th place Jessica Shelton, who's just kind of by herself, and so is Tim Fiegel, who's just a little bit behind. But Drayton is inching closer and closer to the back bumper of the 91 of Fitzwater, as it's now 3 laps to go at Atlanta. Drayton right on the back bumper, or was on the back bumper, of the 91 of Fitzwater. And meanwhile, Carson's still trying to hold off Diego Yepes to maintain 3rd position. But right now, Fitzwater, all he's trying to do is just keep mirror driving that 14 and he'll be good to go. And I bet the 14 wishes that those 2 behind him, Gum and Yepes, were right there to him so he could get a little bit of a draft boost to try and go for a move to get the race lead, because right now he just seems committed to staying behind the 91. But we're coming to the line, and it's white flag out for Zachary Fitzwater, who currently holds the lead by 8/100ths of a second over Alex Drayton. Alex Drayton's going to have one final shot going into turn 3, and he's going to have to dart to the bottom if he's going to have a chance, but he is not going for it. I guess he just couldn't really make it work unless someone was behind him to give him a bit of a push. As we're getting ready to come off of turn 4, checkered flag waving, Zachary Fitzwater wins the Golden Corral 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Pit strategy came into play within the last 9 to 11 laps, and Fitzwater managed to get his pit crew to work hard, get him to the front, had to battle his way up, and he got the win. Great job for that 91 team. But anyways, let's take a look at the rest of the results. Alex Drayton came through with a 2nd place run, and like I said, I think if the 2 behind him, Carson Gum and Diego Yepes, were closer to that battle, that could have played a huge factor in who was going to be able to get the win, because I bet Drayton wished he could have made a move to the bottom, but just didn't have the speed to really do it. But still comes through with a 2nd place finish. Carson Gum with a much needed good run in the 3rd position. Highest finishing rookie, Diego Yepes, in the 4th spot. And then one of the dominant cars of the day, Jessica Shelton, comes through with a 5th place run. Tim Fiegel with a great run in the 6th position. Dylan Young with a solid performance in 7th. First top 10 of the season for Dylan Jacobs in 8th. Same for Jay Jefferson in 9th. And then Joshua Collard rounds out the top 10 in 10th. Rest of the top 20 was Sean Galligan, Kyle Matthews, Cullen Francis, Preston Plord, Joshua Sekuli, Charles Sanford, Dougie Shears, James Shelley, Rafael LeDuc, and James McLeod. Rest of the top 30, Patrick Smith, Colin Phillips, Benjamin Miles, Jake Baskinger, James Qualls, Paul Minnick, Emmanuel Hartnett, Ryan Butcher, Anthony McCurry, Trent Dunham. Then the rest of the drivers that get points were Jake Rogers, Jonathan Zorline, Matt McIntyre, Dylan Thoreau, and Dylan Poteet. And the bottom 5 do not get points. And they were Cody Lamas, Chris Dollarton, Seth Cole, Ethan Hoffman, and DJ Curtis. But no cautions, no wrecks, no cars out of the race. Everybody finished under their own power. I'd say that was a successful race, if I say so myself. But congratulations to Zachary Fitzwater for getting his first win of the season. I forget where we're heading to next time, but until then, here are your results, rookie points and regular points heading into the next race. And this is Levi McIntyre, signing off.